Hello, welcome to another great year at the KMS Art Studio. My name is Kristen Cole, and I will be your artistic guide this year. A little bit about me. This is my 18th year of teaching. I started in 2004. My father was in the Navy for 30 years, so I know what it's like to move around a lot, and I know what it's like to live overseas as well. I'm married with 2 stepdaughters and 4 fur babies, and I love reading, traveling, sports, creating, and supporting the local art scene. About half of my teaching experience comes from stateside, so I still remember what it's like back home. So studio goals. My goal is to help students become creative and independent problem solvers. I do this by teaching the National Core Art Standards using a philosophy called Teaching for Artistic Behavior, or TAB. And I do this because I believe that artistic behaviors are useful in any profession. So you might not be able to draw a hand perfectly, or you might not be able to render portraits realistically. But everybody can use the ability of engaging and persisting, reflecting, stretching and exploring, expressing, developing your craft, whatever that may be, envisioning, understanding your community, and observing the world around you. That can be helpful in whatever path your student may choose. This right here is my syllabus. These will be coming home soon to you. On the back of each syllabus will be the class contract. So the main highlights on this one, I have my goal up here. This is how we're going to reach that goal. These right here are what I expect them to have. I provide them a sketchbook, but the most important thing is a willingness to try. I have pencils, I have erasers, I have sketchbooks, I have the supplies. Unlike last year where everybody had to use their own, we can share supplies again. But the most important thing on this slide is the fact that they need to be willing to try. Okay? Their assessments, they're going to have portfolio pieces. Those are projects of their own choosing. And there's going to be at least 2 each quarter after the first quarter. And each of those are going to be worth 100 points, but they're going to be chunked into smaller assignments, each worth 25 points. Now, I grade the behavior, and I grade the, not necessarily behavior, I grade the process behind the creation, not necessarily the final product. The process is more important. So I grade to see if they are planning their work, if they're getting feedback from others, if they are using that feedback to revise their work, if they are reflecting on their own work or on the work of others. So that's more what I grade than whether or not your piece of cheese actually looks like a piece of cheese. There's also weekly class participation. These are going to be in the form of our mini lessons. So those will be short lessons that I will expect everybody to do. Usually it's going to be skills and techniques, but there may also be some art history thrown in. There may be some art criticism or learning how to critique thrown in. But that's basically, if you do it, you get the full 10 points. And then tests, there may be one test at the end of the semester where they will be able to use their notes and any handouts that they've gotten throughout the year or throughout the semester to see what they have learned. So that will be towards the end. Grading. I use a total point system, so that means that nothing is weighted. Everything is worth the same amount, but not everything is worth the same amount of points. So as you can see right here, the portfolio pieces, those are a lot more important than the weekly class participation. Late work, that's a big one. My philosophy is I want them to actually do the work. It's not necessarily super important when they do it. Now, that being said, some students in the past have taken advantage of this, and they wouldn't turn anything in until the very end of the quarter. So I've had to tweak it a little bit. Any work that's not turned in will be by the due date assigned in grade speed will be listed as missing in grade speed and will be calculated as a 0. So that will tank grades. However, the mini assignments, the weekly class participation grades, those you will have up to a week to turn in for full credit. After 1 week, though, the weekly assignment will be listed as a 0 and cannot be made up. Now, however, I accept projects, these portfolio pieces, and any part of those portfolio pieces for full credit up until the very last day of the quarter. So I do not take off any points for a project being late. Also, any work can always be improved and resubmitted to be regraded if you are not happy with your grade. Okay? And then as for the expectations, quote-unquote rules, what I do is I have the students come up with their own. And so when the syllabus comes home to you in the next week or so, if you look at the back, you will have your class contract. And these are promises that the students came up with in order to create an environment that was comfortable for everyone to make mistakes, to take risks, to learn from their mistakes without fear of any kind of repercussions. So this is just an example of a word cloud that based off of the responses of one class. Most of them are fairly similar to this. So I ask that you go ahead and go over that with your student and then sign the back of that so they can keep that contract in their binder for the semester. That's all I have for now. Oh, wait, nope. I have some previous student work for you guys to see. Now, if you notice, there's no one particular theme. This is because students are allowed to choose what they make, and they get to choose how they make it as well. So they get their choice of subject matter, and they get their choice of materials. That's all I have for you now. If you have any questions, please stick around after the video, and I will be live to answer them. Thank you.